Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a story time, just telling you guys why I decided to quit my job at a hospital after working there for almost 4 years. If you're interested, just sweet as possible. So I started at a hospital in 2019, January 2019. I started in the kitchen. I delivered trays to the patients. And it was called resource, which means as needed. And I only got like maybe 6 hours a week, and then the other week I'd get like 12, and I'm like, I can't live off of this. So I stayed there for a couple months, and I was just waiting for a position to open up because they're like, oh, we have such a high turnover rate. And I waited and I waited, and no full-time position ever opened up, so I went over to housekeeping. I was in housekeeping for a while. I did the second shift. I'm like, I would prefer to do first shift because I kind of felt like second shift was like my whole entire night, and I just prefer first shift, honestly, even though I'm not a morning person, but I like to get off early. And me and my friend started experiencing sexual harassment towards this older guy that was like almost 60. So I went back to the cafeteria because I'm like, there's this sexual harassment going on and they're not doing anything about it. HR didn't do anything about it. And I went back to the cafeteria full time. I was washing pots and pans and doing the dish room. Well, that trying to squeeze doing all those pots and pans in for like 3.5 hours, having to take everybody's garbage out and stuff with the amount of pots and pans was really hard, I'm not going to lie. Some of you might be like, oh, that's easy. But with the amount of stuff that they gave us in this short amount of time, it was difficult, and I really tried my best to get it all. And it got to a point to where everybody would start just cussing, being like, why aren't these effing dishes done? And why aren't these? And stuff like that. And I told the manager, I'm like, this is really unnecessary. And why aren't these effing dishes done by the time that we get back there? Because the people who deliver the trays at night, they would have to come back and help in the dish room before everybody left. And they would expect it to be all done by the time they got back there so that they could just leave. Well, it's not how it was. It's not with anybody doing the dish room. You all had to pitch in and work together. So I was kind of tired of that. I'm like, what is with these people, It was just a very bad environment, not as bad as the one I'm going to be talking about. So I went back to housekeeping, and I'm like, you know what? I'm wanting to venture out. I'm wanting to do something that's not in healthcare, because I'm not going to lie, healthcare is not for me. I'm wanting to do something other than cleaning, and I was thinking about going back to school. So I'm like, I need part-time, and I was talking to the manager over housekeeping. I'm like, I'm really thinking about going back to school. Is there any way I could go down to 3 days a week? He said, no, we can't accommodate those hours. And I'm like, okay. So there was a position open in the storeroom/linen department, which is where they keep all like the supplies. You take all the supplies to the floors, like bandages, ace wraps, all the stuff that the nurses would need, needles. They keep all that stuff down there. And linen, like all the linen, like wash racks, the sheets for the beds, the bath blankets, all that stuff. They was like in the same department. So I went over there, and I was like, I'm thinking about going back to school in February, and these hours would work great for me. And it was first shift. It was 6 to 2:30, and then the linen was 5 to 1:30. And they gave me the position, and I was like really excited. I'm like, it's going to give me an opportunity to get to go back to school and whatnot. And no, I wish I had never even stepped foot in that department because of how toxic the people were. You know, everything seems okay until you actually get in there. There was about maybe 4 good people in that department. Everybody else was just like, I don't know, they need Xanaxes or something. So there was this lead. I'm going to call her Marissa. I'm not going to say any real names. I'm not going to go there. She was something else. Like, if you guys are still watching this, and if you ever experience somebody like this, which I'm sure there is somebody like this almost everywhere, because there's always going to be somebody like this everywhere. She was a lead, and she was like, I don't even know what her problem was. I don't know if she hated life, if she hated her job. But she was just like screaming at everybody. You have to like walk around on eggshells because you don't know what this woman was going to do. She was just like always yelling. Always, there's something wrong. You're not doing this right. You don't do this right. You don't know what you're doing. And to talk like that. And it just infuriates me to even think about her. Or when I hear her real name, it just infuriates me. Because this woman shouldn't be allowed near other people. Anyway, I had a misunderstanding. There are these tubes that the phlebotomists use when they draw blood. And they're supposed to go up to the ER where I'm like, it's full. And if like the container, because they only supposed to have like a certain amount of an item and something, like the IV sticks for the ER to use, they go through them a lot. I think it was like 75 per container or whatever. I misunderstood, so I brought it back down because I'm like, it's full. It won't fit in there. She goes, you need to listen. You need to listen. I'm like, bitch, you need to back up. I didn't say that. I wanted to. I called the supervisor. He talked to her. He's like, oh, you know, she is just very condescending. And I'm like, no, she's going to talk to everybody like that. And you guys are going to let her get away with it. And she's a lead. And she's allowed to do, because she's a lead, she's allowed to do that. And she goes, okay, well, the managers had to talk about it. And they brought me into the office. And she was giving a pity story. She goes, I wasn't yelling. I got such a stressful job. I got to do this inventory that's coming up, which they did inventory once a year to count every single thing in the whole department. And she goes, I'm just under a lot of stress. Well, if you're that stressed and your job is that stressful where you can't handle it, then I got some advice. Then quit, and quit making everybody around you feel uncomfortable. I don't think anybody had anything good to say about her. I mean, that is just ridiculous that you make people in the workplace come be that where they are so uncomfortable to be there. And I did a video about this at a dental office. Is every single job like this? No, I have worked at places that was not toxic and the people was great. You know, you have your differences or whatever, but that's everywhere. Yeah, I worked at a dental office and it was great. I was not able to continue working there because it was an hour away from me. It was just a commute. I couldn't afford the gas anymore. And then they put me in linen. The storm and the linen were together because I guess I was too honest. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to be respected like everybody else. And he goes, well, you got to be able to take direction. Well, you can give direction respectfully. So I went to linen, and I liked linen because I liked the woman who ran it there. She was as honest as it could be. She's fair. She is just a wholesome, sweet person altogether. But she'll tell you how it is, and she's respectful about it. And me and her got along great, meeting the people in the linen, because there's different people in the storeroom. The people in the storeroom was, I don't know what their problem was. They just hated life. They're like, this ain't that effing hard. I don't know why these MFers can't get this and that. And yeah, I don't think that's really okay in the workplace if you're going to be professional about it. And here I am. I didn't call this lady a bitch to her face, but because I'm like, you know what, it's not really worth losing my job over. But then I got to a point to where I'm like, just fire me. So just fire me. But that's me being professional, right? No, it's not. I sound like a hypocrite. I'm trying not to be. Anyway, I really like the linen. But then the lead in the storeroom would come back there and, start running her mouth. And the people in the storeroom would go around, and because the people in housekeeping, I still talk to. I liked the people in housekeeping. I just wanted something different, and I needed different hours because I was thinking about going to school. But I got so low in my life, like to a point, to where I didn't want to do anything except eat. I would stress eat all the time. I would cry all the time. I used to do like DoorDash and Walmart orders where you go to Walmart and you pick up groceries and you deliver it to people. I used to do that all the time when I got off work, but it got to the point to where I would just go home and question my existence. And don't ever get to a point, don't ever let a job get you so down that you feel like you don't even want to live anymore. Because that is where I got to. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. It was affecting my health. I was sick all the time. I was nauseous. I was dizzy. I just wanted to eat all the time. I gained probably about 30 pounds. And I couldn't do it anymore. I was just like empty. All because of this job. And it was like that for 4 years. Now, I do have some good memories at the hospital. I did meet some good friends. I actually went on vacation with one woman a couple years ago. A lot of people was really nice there. And I wish that things could be different because I was really looking forward to getting to my 5 years and getting that 5-year anniversary pin that they gave out. But I just couldn't take it no more. And I actually had a friend who quit too because she couldn't take it anymore. And I've got another friend who's like, I honestly don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. I don't get it. Anyway, with the whole linen thing, the lady that was in charge of linen, I'm kind of got off topic there, told me, she's like, we had to cover these carts, because the carts that the linen was on, because they couldn't be moved in the hallway unless they was covered because of, like, it was in a hospital, and, they wanted to keep it all sanitary, whatever. I don't know if that's the right word or not. And she's like, well, I don't understand why the lead and the manager of the storeroom is not helping you do these covers, and they're not helping you take the carts out and put them in the hallway because they would be in the storeroom because they helped the other two guys. And so I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And so I just asked, I'm like, hey, how come, these guys were getting help, but I never got any help. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything. And he goes, oh, they never got any help. They never got any help. But she's only been there for a month. And she's like, what does he know? I thought that the manager that took over was really sweet until about maybe 3 weeks. And he kind of took it to his head. And he's like, hey, I'm in charge. Y'all going to listen to me. Which I don't understand. Anyway, I got to wrap this up because I've been rambling and y'all probably getting bored. I'm like, I'm like, how come they're getting help and I'm not? And I was out in the hallway. And he's like, I'm out here to help you. And he does. And I'm just like, okay. I was just thinking, no, if you're going to act like that, don't help me. And then I told the lady in the storeroom that. And she was like, I'm getting ready to go say something to him. Because he pulled me in the office and he was like, you're expressing frustration about not getting help. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm not going to say her real name. I'm like, so-and-so's told me that the other two guys in the department was getting help because they never got any help. And then she goes, I'm getting ready to go say something. Because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Because I told her, I'm like, you know, he was telling me this and that. Like, you know, nobody else was getting help. But you're telling me that they were getting help. And she goes, and I'm like, please don't say nothing. She goes, oh, he's only been here like a month. They was out there breaking their necks to help the other two. And I'm like, they're not helping me because they don't like me because I'm too outspoken, I guess. They don't like that. They want somebody who's going to just be like a robot. So, you know, I called the CEO because I had a bunch of people that I still talk to in housekeeping, and even the lead in linen was like, you know, why don't you email the president? Well, I emailed the president. The president said that he'll get in contact with the CEO over the materials department. So I waited, and I reached out to him again, and I still never heard anything. And then I emailed him because I was just like at my breaking point. I'm like, this is my third attempt trying to reach you. You know, can you please call me so we can discuss these problems? And he finally called me, and I was telling him about how the people were, how you get treated, how uncomfortable it is to even walk in there, how they go around and they cuss. And first of all, I don't think that's appropriate anywhere in the workplace, in my personal opinion, to go around and be like, well, this effing person ain't doing this, and this ain't that effing hard. I don't know why people are quitting. This is the easiest effing job that there is on the planet. I don't understand how many times you got to ask a question. And Marissa told me, I forgot to mention this, that it was concerning that I was asking questions. How are you supposed to learn if you don't ask questions? Can somebody please tell me in the comments if anybody is still watching this? How are you supposed to learn? By asking questions. If you've never did this kind of stuff before, yeah, you're going to have questions. People can be doing something for 30 years and still have questions on it. That was just like, what the heck? Okay, I've gone off topic. I'm finally letting this all out. And I've talked to the CEO, and his exact words were, we'll make it better for somebody else. I'm sorry this happened. Wow, you'll make it better for somebody else, but you don't want to keep an employee who's been there for almost 4 years, who used to come in and work 7 days a week. There's a lot of times I would go in and work in housekeeping 7 to 3:30, go over to the cafeteria, work 4 to 8. But you're going to make it better for somebody else. Why wouldn't you try to make it better for everybody, you know? Because if I was the CEO, I'd be like, what can we do to make this better? You know, we want to keep our employees. You know, if you got a high turnover rate, that's kind of a sign right there. I would be like, you know, what can we do? You know, I'm sorry, and I'm going to look into this. That's what I would have said. Like, I'm taking action. If I was a CEO, we'll make it better for somebody else. Yeah, just for the CEO to just even say, like, oh, we're going to make it better for somebody else, I'm like, yeah, you know, this really isn't a company that I think values their employees, and I think it's just time to leave, because there are companies out there that do truly value their employees, and they want to keep their employees, and they're going to do whatever it takes, you know, to make it a good work environment, and, you know, to just have people actually want to come into work. And I've been rambling on for this for about 20 minutes. I could go on for hours. I do apologize. If you made it this far in a video, just leave in the comments if you've had any similar experiences, or if you're going through it right now. I just want to say life is too short to be miserable every single day, and do not let a job affect your mental and physical health like it did me. Hopefully this video helps somebody, and I just want to thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.